1976 Kawasaki KZ750 B model. It's the original deal. It's got all the points. I bought it like, I don't know, a year ago, just someone's acreage. It was sitting out forever. It's got surprisingly good paint on it. Anyways, I was thinking I'm gonna get this thing ready for Mexico. It is crusty. It needs a lot of love, but you know, it's promising. So the first thing I'm gonna do is get it started and then see how it is. See if it's smoking. Maybe the walls are rusted in the piston cylinders, who knows. So we're gonna take carbs off, do ultrasonic cleaning. I've been doing carbs a lot lately, and I'm doing this Maxim X 750. The carbs are equally disgusting on that. Got them in the ultrasonic cleaner. 1 cup of pine sol and the rest water, hot water. And anyways, this is a 1976. Kind of cool. Picked it up for pretty cheap. It's a 2-cylinder 180-degree crank on it, dual overhead cam, shim under bucket, twin carburetor. It's got these old Mikuni carburetors on it. They were found on the XS650 as well, the Yamaha XS650 twin. They're kind of weird carbs. They're called Mikuni Solex carburetors. Yeah, not real common. So, you know, the XS crowd is certainly pieced out. It's got this snow plow on the front, which will be coming off. I'm going to put a windshield on it, and it's got a cool 2-into-1 sort of pipe, flat tire. Look at this, original tire. This thing has got, what's it got? 9,283 original miles on it. You can tell it's original. It's just sat and rotted somewhere. It's got this 2-into-1 pipe on it. I don't know who makes or made that. It's got the original tires on it. Can you believe that? It's got Dunlop. This is a Dunlop Gold Seal. Oh, I don't know, whatever they called it back in the day. But it's the tire it came with in 76. So the guy didn't, and look at the tread, not bad. Although I don't recommend using it. It's got a big gaping crack in the one side of it. So I wouldn't use that. We're going to take the tank off. The tank looks surprisingly clean. I mean, it's, when I dragged this thing in last night, I swept it off with a broom and all these flies and stuff came flying out of it. It's got a rear disc brake on it, kind of neat. And so the first thing we got to do is we got to get those carburetors off. We got to take the points off. This has points, you can tell, because it has 1 wire here. See, 1 wire. The later electronic models use 2 wires, and you can actually swap it over from the 84 LTD. Just swap over all the guts, igniter, wired into a modern coil off a sport bike, and it'll work just fine. The caliper's seized on it, so all the brake fluid needs to be changed. Brake fluid, this caliper needs to come off. The brake pads are probably fine. You don't tend to deteriorate. But the big thing is carburetors. Carburetors need to come off, and I have a couple sets ready to go off a newer one. This is the CSR 750. There's 2 sets of them. Both of them are cleaned. And here's a bunch of stuff in here off a later model. Here's the igniter off a later model. This fits on the old 76s just fine. There's only really simple. I mean, there's the yellow is the power, the black is the ground, and then you have the 2 pickups here. That comes from pickup coil, and then I think 1 goes to the kill switch. So really simple, couple pod filters in there, and then the spigots are different on the later models. It has a smaller spigot because these are CV carburetors too, but smaller throat on them. So here's what I was talking about. You can just replace the breaker points with the pickup. They bolt right on, 2 bolts. You got 1, 2 bolts, and then the stock Advance, you just use the same one off of a KZ750. This is off a KZ440, but you can't use the 440 mechanical Advance because the stroke is different on the 750, and therefore the timing is different. Ignition under here, and then there's your pickup coil wires. It goes all the way down around the bottom, and then up to here it's your blue wire, black wire, and it goes up to the pickup, and that wire goes into this little box here, which is your CDI box, transistorized ignition. And then you have this plug here. It's your 2 yellows, 1 with a blue stripe, 1 with a red stripe, and then you have a black and a yellow. And the black and yellow is the ground. The one with the red stripe, the yellow, that's your power. And then the third one with the blue stripe, that goes up to your modernized ignition coil off of GL 1800 or something to that. Or I got some iridium plugs in here. So it's got great compression now, and it's going to be a really good bike. That's the deal with that. So I was thinking, you know, cheap bike, probably good Mexico bike. Going to go down to Mexico this winter, cruise around, eat some tacos, drink some beer, and cruise around this. I've done it once before with an old 750 twin. They're actually really good bikes. It's got a kickstart on it. It's got a battery. It's got good ground clearance for the topes. You know, the topes are about this high. So I think we're going to see how it runs and go from there. So if you want to join me for the ride, figure out what's involved with an old bike, getting it back to the road. It's not that bad, but a lot of people spend money in all the wrong places, and you end up with a money pit. So you can do a bike like this for fairly reasonable on the budget, but you gotta spend the money in the right places. Like the petcock needs to be replaced with a pingle. You know, the carbs need to be done, sorted out, tires, steering head bearings, do the swing arm bearings, bushings, etc. Grease everything, and it's amazing. By the time you're done, it's a fairly decent motorcycle. Kind of on the slow side, really not that sexy, and nothing to write home about. It's not a ZX10R, but yeah, cool bike from Mexico. It's got a back rack on it. You put a windshield on, and it's got big crash bars on it. What more do you want? Anyways, join me for the ride.